one of the craziest stories that I've yet seen. And it is, I kind of mentioned it offhand, but I never really covered it. Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz is like murdering puppies? Like, can you believe this?
So you know how The Simpsons has this weird history of predicting historical moments? You know, from like Super Bowl victories to the Siegfried and Roy Tiger attack to a certain somebody becoming president? Well, they did it again, showing that before there was Dr. Oz, there was Dr. Nick. John Fetterman just released this hilarious new ad showing the eerie similarities between a certain cartoon scam doctor and the snake oil salesman celebrity doctor from New Jersey running for Senate here in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Take a look.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
With my diet, you can eat all you want, anytime you want.
And you'll lose weight?
You might. It's a free country.
I've got the #1 miracle in a bottle to burn your fat.
Lose fat without diet or exercise?
Stubborn stomach fat instantly disappears.
I recommend a slow, steady gorging process combined with acid horizontology.
Garcinia cambogia extract.
Crystal sonic therapy.
C. buckthorn.
Dr. Nick, this malpractice committee has received a few complaints against you.
Dr. Oz being sued for advice he gave to viewers who struggle falling asleep.
Dr. Oz is being accused of promoting quack treatments by some top physicians.
Are you looking for a way to slash the cost of your medical expenses?
How much did you pay for a pill that takes your body back 10 years?
Call 1-600-DOCTORB. The B is for bargain.
His empire and wealth have flourished.
The most rewarding part was when he gave me my money. Bye-bye, everybody.
They say The Simpsons always predicts the future, and once again, I gotta say, they nailed it. John Fetterman is...
These fucking... Man, these libs, dude. I'm fucking... soy face! Fucking bad chesting!
far and away the better candidate, both on the ballot and on the campaign trail. Now, major trigger warning because this video is about to take a horrific...
Stop agreeing with me, Midas Touch. Stop agreeing with me, Midas Touch.
Horrific but important turn. Also breaking today is a horrifying story stating that a review of 75 studies published by Dr. Oz found that Oz's research experiments in the early 2000s at Columbia killed 329 dogs. Oz's team allegedly made the dogs and other animals suffer, and according to testimony from a whistleblower in the early 2000s, Oz's research led to extensive suffering inflicted on his team's canine test subjects, including multiple violations of the Animal Welfare Act.
Honest to God, what is wrong with Americans? Just stopping for a second. How are we in a world where someone like Bernie Sanders is attacked relentlessly for made up bullshit, and Democrats wander around going, we gotta have a strong Republican Party, when the Republican Party is baby murderers, puppy murderers, pedophiles? I mean, like, what is going on? How is this even close?
The whistleblower said that the Oz-led study resulted in a litter of puppies being killed by intracardiac injection with syringes of expired drugs inserted in their hearts without any sedation. And upon being killed, the puppies were then allegedly left in a garbage bag with living puppies who were their litter mates. This is disgusting. If you live in Pennsylvania like me, and none of the other stuff Oz has done so far in the campaign trail has proven to you that he's a complete disaster of a human and should be nowhere near our government, this has to put it over the finish line. There's one thing I'm sure of. I will never vote for a puppy killer like Oz. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you found this informative, please subscribe.
I mean, I gotta be honest. If I were Fetterman, I would be launching a massive television ad buy on this one. I would be like, Dr. Oz is I don't care whether you're a Republican or Democrat. Dr. Oz is a disgusting piece of garbage. Like, legitimately, what the like, this is actually something that happened in the 2012 election, chat. There was a case where Mitt Romney admitted that he had strapped his dog to the top of his car and gone on a highway drive. Yes, you got that right. He strapped the dog on top of the car and took him on the highway. And people lost their shit over that. The dog didn't even die. And now Dr. Oz has killed hundreds of puppies? White people know 500 breeds of dogs, but call every Latin person Mexican. It's an easy ad campaign. Yes, I mean, that's obviously bad that white people are racist. But yes, I think it's a human universal that people like dogs for the most part. The puppy murder vote is pretty small. Right wingers did care about 25 sexual assault allegations about Trump. Will they care about dead puppies? Yes. Redditors care more about dead puppies than they do misogyny.
Right now to the Midas Touch YouTube channel for more unapologetically pro-democracy news. Thank you. This November is Rovember. Midas Touch just released its brand new collection of Rovember t-shirts and pins to let the country know what's at stake this upcoming midterm election. Go to store.midastouch.com.
Ugh. Comparing Mexicans to dogs? What the fuck? Shut up, Derek. I'll slap you across the face. I didn't do that, you dipshit. Romney had a better child tax credit bill than Pelosi and Schumer. It killed it because it raised taxes on rich coastal libs. True. That's absolutely true. As an average American, I can't tell if the torture and murder of dogs in a scientific setting is unusual or not. And as a Republican, I don't get angry unless my dad tells me to. Good point. People still hold dogfighting against Mike Vick a decade later, and he went to jail and changed. This should be enough to ruin Dr. Oz, but the depravity of Republicans has no bottom. Of course not. When Donald Trump said I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and not lose any voters, he was right.
That's praxis.
OG Kush, thanks for the tier 1. Tucker Carlson said Mike Vick should have been executed. I wonder why. 2 weeks ago, we noted early signs that Republicans were making gains in the race for the Senate. Now it's clear the race has shifted toward Republicans in important ways. Democrats might still lead enough races to hold the chamber, but their position is starting to look quite vulnerable. On average, Republicans have gained 3 points across 19 post-Labor Day polls of the key Senate battleground states, compared with pre-Labor Day polls of the same states by the same pollsters. Now, I will say this, chat. This is expected. Extremely weak candidates oftentimes, trail the baseline expected vote. And that's been true of the Republican Senate candidates. So a lot of Republican voters would vote for Adolf Hitler. They would vote for a baby murderer. They would vote for anything, as long as it has a Republican next to the name. So it's not a surprise that there's been gains. That said, that's momentum for the right wing. To tell you, shit is very serious, man. Very fucking serious. Shift is similar to what we observed a few weeks ago. What's changed with more data? We can be sure that the polling shift is real. We have more clarity about where Republicans are making their biggest gains. Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. We focused on Wisconsin last time. We talked about Republican gains. So today we'll focus on Pennsylvania. If you're a Democrat, there's one very important thing you can cling to. The lead. John Fetterman leads Dr. Mehmet Oz in the polls taken since Labor Day. In fact, basically leads in every one of them by an average of around 4 percentage points. Dr. Oz has nonetheless made significant gains. On average, he's closed by a net 6 points in post-Labor Day polling compared with surveys by the same pollsters taken before Labor Day. Yeah, I think a lot of money has flowed to Oz in Pennsylvania. And, chat, I'm not going to mince words. Fetterman is not able to campaign as much as he wanted to and is not able to grab the spotlight that he otherwise would have, but for the stroke. The stroke was really bad for him. And while it hasn't been fatal yet, either for his campaign or his person, it's been a serious concern. And I've been worried about it since it happened, basically. And I don't want to say that is the only issue, but it is what it is. No one heals instantly from a stroke. Yeah, it takes a long time to recover from that. Did we forget about the $100 billion in dark money just passed out hands to the GOP last month? No, I didn't forgive about the billions, though. It's not 100 billion, but it's billions. That's exactly right. My mom once told me that no matter who it was or what they've done, as long as they have an R next to their name, she would vote for them. Yeah, it's pretty sad. Why has Dr. Oz surged back into the race? There are two ways to tell the story. One might leave Democrats feeling okay. The other might leave Republicans giddy. This is one of those cases where the best interpretation draws in both cases. If you're a Democrat, the optimistic interpretation that Dr. Oz is merely and belatedly consolidating Republican support after a damaging primary. In this view, Dr. Oz's gains were inevitable. There's not much for Democrats to worry about. Mr. Fetterman still enjoying a lead. Democrats can tell themselves that Dr. Oz is mainly one of her folks. We're going to come around to him eventually. There's truth to this interpretation. Dr. Oz came out of the primary with terrible favorability ratings. Many would-be Republican voters were not prepared to say they would support him. Back in a July poll from Fox News, Dr. Oz had just 73% support among Republicans. Now he's at 83%. Realistically, many of those Republicans are going to rally behind Dr. Oz once the general election campaign got underway and once Republicans started judging him compared with a Democrat rather than against Republicans. I'd say that the average candidate gets somewhere in the range of 87 to 92% of their own party, right? So I'd expect Oz to continue to gain among Republicans because that's what people are now. They're anti-Democrats. They don't give a shit about Dr. Oz. They just give a shit about stopping the left. And many Democrats are now that way as well. They don't give a shit about the Democrat as long as it's not a Republican. That is the essence of our politics today. Stay with my mother. She's been overworked and underpaid for decades at a skilled trade. I can't imagine a more quintessential example of someone who would benefit under socialism. And she would never vote for a Democrat because they, quote, kill babies. Tugboat, thanks for the 4 months. That's obscene. Another interpretation that might be more encouraging for Republicans. Mr. Fetterman has endured forceful attacks related to his health. He had a stroke in May, as well as views about crime and the economy. There's reason to think those attacks are taking a toll. Franklin and Marshall poll last week found Mr. Fetterman's favorability ratings underwater. 46% saying they have an unfavorable view of him compared with 40% with a favorable view. Back in August, those numbers were nearly reversed. Just 36% had an unfavorable view, compared with 43% with a favorable view. Dr. Oz's favorability ratings are still worse than Fetterman's, and so far, most voters say they're not concerned about Fetterman's health. There's no doubt that Mr. Fetterman, rather than Oz, has become the focal point of the race over the last month. With Mr. Fetterman still struggling by his own admission to recover fully from the stroke, there's no reason to assume that the spotlight will relent. As long as that's true, Republicans can hope that Dr. Oz might continue to gain. So, obviously not ideal, and let's be honest with ourselves. There's, if you're in Pennsylvania or you're nearby Pennsylvania, you need to get in there and help Fetterman. I mean, that's just the way it goes. John Fetterman is way better than the average replacement Democrat in nearly any other Senate seat in the entire country. He's got to win. If Dr. Oz wins, that'll be devastating. Not only for the country, but for the Democratic Party as well. Fucking Christ. How can we help? You should sign up. You should donate. You should sign up for, if you're in Pennsylvania, go and participate in the campaign. You go to the website, you sign up as a volunteer, schedule yourself some, canvassing or some phone calls, and be prepared to support Fetterman. If you're far away on the other side of the country, you can still do some phone banking on your computer. So there's ways to help, if you don't have any money or you don't have the ability to support Fetterman, obviously continue doing that on social media and other ways, and argue forcefully in favor of Fetterman. But, it is what it is, man.
My fellow Americans, words have many meanings, and sometimes instead of conveying our meaning, they can suggest other meanings.
When we talk about the children of the community, they are children of the community.
Well, we are the United States of America because we are united. And we are states.
Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time.
Whatever we have in store cannot be known. The past was once the future. The future is, I should say, unknown.
We got to take this stuff seriously as you are, because you have been forced to have to take it seriously.
Obesity is a serious disease, and it needs to be taken seriously.
You need to get to go, and need to be able to get where you need to go to do the work and get home.
Holy fuck, she's actually worse than the Veep writing.
I hope that clarifies the issue, and this can be the last word on those words.
Certain issues are just settled.
Clearly we're not.
No, that's right. And that's why I do believe that we are living, sadly, in real unsettled times.
Here's the thing to say about Kamala Harris. She may be the least charismatic and least charismatic and laziest politician I've ever seen. But also just choked the most raw ambition. I like, honest to God, if you're this bad in front of cameras and in front and speaking, why would you want to do the job? This is just torturing yourself. Even my mom, who is the most CNN brained liberal, thinks Kamala is a wet noodle and a weirdo. She's a fucking loser, algorithm. Georgia's anti-slap suit or the home state of the Daily Beast anti-slap law has jurisdiction. It would depend on where he would file a defamation case, but there's very little likelihood they would do it. She's less charismatic than Hillary. Way less charismatic than Hillary. What? Way less charismatic than Hillary. Hillary has a certain kind of Cruella de Vil charisma. Hillary has that kind of, she brings out the evil in the wine mom, You know when a wine mom has 3 or 4 glasses of a nice cab, they start ranting about transitioning? That's Hillary Clinton right there. She brings that. So all the wine moms in America kind of got that vibe. They vibed with that. All right. Now, I don't think she's a very extremely charismatic, but there's something there, right? It's the type of, that's what Hillary Clinton represents. Now, she's disgusting in a lot of other ways. So a lot of people on net, her charisma was not a benefit, but there was something there for some people. Kamala has nothing. Totally empty suit. Like her or not, she does have a personality and charisma. Kamala, not so much. Yeah. Fucking hell, dude. That was bad.
Hi there.
According to Walker, who to his ex-wife held a gun to her head and was going to blow my brains out, is continually rocked by reports that he lied about his past and covered up several love children. Still, the claim that he not only urged a romantic partner to have an abortion but paid for it could be the most explosive revelation yet. My mom is Kamala Harris, and she says stop. Yeah, I'm sorry. Kara Invicta? Oh, yeah, I just bought that game, chat. I just bought that game. I'm excited because apparently it's this game. Basically, the premise is that aliens land on Earth. They crash on Earth today. And then what would happen, right? And there's these different... And there's an ideological, this kind of post-contact ideologies arise. How would humanity react to that, right? And they have a lot of really interesting... It's really interesting. Ideologically. I like it. I enjoy it. I barely played it, though. Brosifer, thank you for the tier 1. But one of the things that's really interesting is they're going to have a Cold War. So I'm going to literally replicate when they have the Cold War scenario. Because, current politics is kind of blah, right? Ooh, you can make the European Union a mega state. Yay. That's fine. I want the fucking Cold War version. Can't imagine treating so many women that horribly, and now he's running some kind of conservative moral authority. It's a geopolitical simulator with with hard sci-fi. Are you watching the stream unsubbed? You're making income inequality worse. You are doing anti-praxis. We are the only Twitch stream that will not accept scam advertisers, and I will never fuck you over by selling you crap.